Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to September's meeting. We have a short agenda today, going to be straightforward today. Call to order the meeting, and I'm going to give it to Erin.
Yeah, so thank you, Chair. And just I wanted to quickly introduce Karen Solano, who's on our call today. Karen is our new administrative assistant with the Park and Recreation Department, and Karen will be our new Cultural Arts Commission chair. Sorry, she'll be our new clerk. That's the word I was looking for. So she'll be joining us for our meetings. I know you guys probably got emails already from her. But I just wanted to do an introduction before she went ahead and went with our roll call. So welcome.
Karen. Hi, you're more than welcome to take over, actually. So yeah, let's do the roll call.
Yes, okay. So let's get this started. Chairperson Marta Hay.
Present.
Vice Chair Bond.
Present.
Commissioner Bowen will be absent today. Commissioner Foley.
Here.
Commissioner DiNatale.
Here.
Commissioner Maharaj.
Present.
Commissioner Ramos. And Cultural Arts Specialist Ursi Santos.
I'm here.
Karen, we could just stop with the commission. You're good.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Thank you.
So we're good.
Okay, perfect. So we're just gonna go to agenda review. We have nothing to review here, so we're gonna approve the minutes. Any changes to the minutes from June? If there are no changes
From August.
from August, no, sorry, we didn't have a July meeting. We had an August show, right? August, sorry. So no changes. Okay, we're gonna approve the meeting from the last month. Any citizens who are participating today?
Sorry, Chair Marta Hay, if we could go ahead and get a commissioner to get a motion and a second on the minutes, and then a consensus is fine after.
Okay. Did we get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Okay, any second? Get a second to approve the minutes?
Your mic's off, but I'll approve it.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you for Commissioner Foley. Okay, so minutes approved. And sounds like we have no citizens participating unless I'm not seeing someone from my screen. Okay.
No.
Moving on to presentation. Actually, I'm looking forward to that. So, presentation of the Handcrafted with Love from our Arts and Crafts show. I think we did that, right? That was our last meeting.
I think you might have the agenda from, is that the last one?
Yeah.
We have
I think
unfinished.
it's there was like an unfinished business overlap. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm kind of reviewing it. I'm sorry, I printed 2 copies. Okay, we have unfinished business. So let's just move to that. 2023 art show, the auction, and gonna have Ursi talk about that. That was quite an event.
Okay, thank you, Millie. So if you recall, we addressed the 2023 schedule, which was on your goals list at the August meeting. And there has been an update. If you want to refer to your packet on page 9, that the date to the March 2023 art show, which is the youth art show, that has been confirmed. Those dates are now March 10 and 11 in 2023 for the youth art show. So Further, we requested that the commissioner, the subcommittees plan what media would be presented for the 3 adult programs. We don't necessarily need any detail at this juncture or themes, just the media that the commissioner subcommittee chairs are considering with particular attention to the first show, which is the July, I'm doing the same thing. The January 2023 art show. And if you recall, Commissioner Bond stepped up to chair that subcommittee since our former chair, Paula Colleen, is no longer with us for that and moved on to other better things. So I will ask Commissioner Bond now to take over and see what her feedback or recommendations are for the January 2023 art show.
Yep, and so Ursi will send me a form. I'm planning on recommending a 2D art, so painting, photography, drawing, whatnot. If anybody would want to make another suggestion, please email me or, you know, speak up right now, but that's probably the direction to go that I'm gonna recommend we go.
Sorry, she said photography was your main focus so far.
So two-dimensional art, so photography,
Two-dimensional art.
paintings, drawings, etc. Yeah.
Thank you.
And might come up with a theme, but if anybody has suggestions on that, feel free to email me.
So if the commission is has no further comment on that, it is an action item, and we can go ahead and move via roll call to approve that the January 2023 will be a 2-dimensional oriented program for media. Before we do that, I just want to put it out to again, Chair Bond for the May show and Chair Boldenwick for the October show, if they have any thoughts at this juncture for the media for their programs. If you don't, that can be pushed over to the October meeting to consider if you prefer.
I would like to push that over to the October meeting to consider on the May, and then also we've talked a little bit, just a couple of one-on-one conversations. So I'm just going to put this out there. Certainly not something we need to focus on tonight, but maybe as a topic of conversation to think about for the next meeting would be to potentially drop one of the art shows in favor of focusing attention on fundraiser activities over the summer months. So I just want to put that out there as a possible idea, and maybe it can be an agenda item for discussion in the next meeting. Or if we have time tonight, I don't know how we add things to agenda meeting, Millie, up to you.
Well, I thought maybe we'll just have it prepared, maybe and move it, if that's okay. We'll put it on the next month's agenda, so that way we have
So
time
the
to
idea is out there then.
put it
Yeah.
together. Yeah, talk amongst ourselves. Yeah, that sounds good though.
So then the only action we would need to consider at this juncture is the confirmation of the January art show. So if this commission and the chair approves, then we can have Karen do a roll call vote.
So if somebody
what-
puts a motion,
Can I ask a question? What, we're voting on a general art show? Is that it for January?
2-dimensional art.
Okay.
Percy, if you put the motion forward, I'll second it.
I think we can just do a consensus vote or a roll call vote. And just for the record, I do want to add that Commissioner Ramos has joined us for our minutes. Thank you.
Okay, Chairperson Mardahay,
Okay, agreed with the January show, two-dimensional art.
Vice Chair Bond,
I'll agree with my own proposition, yes.
Commissioner Boldenwick,
Yes,
Commissioner Bowen is absent. Commissioner Foley,
Yes,
Commissioner Dinatali,
Yes.
Commissioner Maharaj,
Yes.
and Commissioner Ramos.
his mic is off if he's there.
Yeah, he's added his yes to the comments. We see that. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Sure.
Thank you. And I think there's a second part thing. Thanks, Ersi, for the first one for the art show. We're going to move on to the commission recruitment, and that's Aaron.
Yeah, so just a very brief update. I believe you've all seen that we've done a recruitment for our 3 vacancies on this commission. I believe that closed, I want to say it was Monday. I don't know the exact date that it closed. Tuesday, it closed Tuesday the 13th. And interviews, just for your knowledge, are scheduled for Tuesday, September 20th. And those will be held at the Municipal Services Building in the council chambers. I believe the start time is 4:30, and that's open to the public. So all of you, if you were interested, are welcome to join. And just as a note, those are for the commission vacancies. So there's multiple commissions that had vacancies that were being recruited for at that time as well.
Oh, thank you, Aaron. Thank you for that. Anything to add to this? Any comments on this? On to subcommittees, and we're going to start with strategic vision. Oh, sorry, Aaron. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually have a new business item before we get
Oh,
to
yeah. Okay, I skipped that over. I'm so sorry.
And I
I'm
can
gonna
read
give
that.
it to Angela.
Yes. So I added this agenda item, planning for art opportunities, partially really in response to the frustration that we heard at our last meeting about just how much we can accomplish with the cultural arts program. So I just want to start with acknowledging that staff share in a lot of these frustrations. We're also very excited about the art opportunities we have at hand. And I wanted to just bring a little more visibility to our challenges as staff, kind of share with you all what our perspective is, and also just brainstorm with you. I'm looking for your ideas about how we can at least offer more visibility into what we are doing, and then maybe talk about how we prioritize all of the projects and ideas we have on our plate. So the biggest challenge, which I think many of you have heard from us, is just the challenge of limited staffing. So the cultural arts program receives direct support from a 0.75 FTE cultural arts specialist, as you all know, Ersi. And so 0.75 FTE equates to 30 hours per week on average. And so these hours were only increased this fiscal year from 0.5 FTE, which is 20 hours per week. And the additional hours were granted this fiscal year under the justification of executing the Public Art Master Plan, and also just in general acknowledgement that the interest and demand for art programs is growing. So the Cultural Arts Program receives direct supervisory support from the business manager, which is Aaron, as well as from Greg and I. And I'm currently serving as the acting deputy director, and Greg is our director. So while we are very invested in the public art programs. Our roles are really just advisory. And, you know, we're happy to help as much as we can. Many of you saw us working alongside you at the barbecue. But when it comes to program details, we really have very little bandwidth to execute those details. That all comes through your cultural arts specialist. And then just with all the other shifts going on in our department, I also want to acknowledge that we have Karen now, which comes at great relief to us. We're very grateful for Gabby Furpo, who you all have known as our clerk. She's also filled in on other key tasks that the department has been needing to fill. But I think now having, you know, Karen fully with us will bring some stability to the department. And while she is here as your clerk, Karen also has other duties department-wide, just as Greg, me, and Aaron do as well. So the other challenge, I think, from the staff perspective is just that we're in a very transformative time. And I don't want to say blame COVID, because as tragic as really that was for many people, the challenge of not being able to host our traditional cultural arts program gave us the opportunity to look at how we can do things in a new way. So that was very true for the cultural arts program, since much of your art opportunities are centered around your quarterly art exhibits, but it's really true for our department as a whole. We've made some operational changes and program changes and have been able to change the way we're doing. And they're all good things, I think, that we were able to improve, but it's also come with its challenges and learning how to do things a new way. And then on top of that, I think as you have witnessed, we just have a lot of staffing changes in the department. So you have new folks, you know, learning to do things in a new way. And the other part of the transformation that we've seen is just an increased activity by subcommittees. So previously, subcommittees were typically activated as needed to advise staff with respect to your specialty areas. So for example, the sculpture subcommittee would meet when there was an opportunity to purchase or place sculptures. And now we're seeing a stronger interest from this group to use the subcommittee time to meet more regularly, to brainstorm ideas in your respective areas. And so I point this out, I'm honestly not trying to say, oh, it's adding more work to our plates, but just to acknowledge that it's a shift from the staff perspective and how the commission has been supported in the past. So I do think this is an important part of our planning for the future. We are on the cusp of big things. So we definitely want to continue fostering that structure. And then the last thing that I see as part of the change for the commission and its transformation are that 5 of our 8 current members joined during COVID. And so those of you who are new had a little opportunity to experience what we've considered as a normal part of the program. And I agree completely with Commissioner Denatali's frustration of not being able to meet in person. It is limiting. In Zoom, you can only speak one at a time. There are no natural, hey, how are you doing? That comes at the beginning and the end of meetings. And so while we are limited right now to hold our commission meetings in person, I think it really speaks to the importance of the connections that we're able to make, not only with each other, but with community members at the art exhibits, at our concert in the park, if you're able to join us, at the fundraising events. And I think I've really just personally felt a difference in the group once people started connecting in person. And I also really appreciate that subcommittees are meeting on their own now, and hopefully having a good time of it. So that's kind of what we see as our challenges. And I wanted to share with you just to review and make sure we're on the same page. And so you know what we look at as staff. I'm going to share my screen. So these are the elements that we consider as part of the base cultural arts program. And so this is what is supported with your 0.75 FTE cultural arts specialist and some of the time that Erin and I put towards cultural arts. So we have the 4 art exhibits per year. That includes the extended live exhibits. And then in red, I put items that are new. So we're tacking on a virtual component that's becoming a popular and stable part of that program. 1 fundraising event per year. I'm intrigued to hear what Commissioner Bond's idea about transitioning the 4th art exhibit and fundraising. We have the annual Jack Drago Cultural Arts Commission Youth Art Scholarship, monthly support of commission meetings, as needed or as funded, other art opportunities related to the utility box, art installations and repair, temporary loan art program. We also have our council approved projects, some of which is buried under this as needed, as funded category here. We were able to complete the Prometheus mural repair and still have on our to-do list the graffiti abatement murals. And then some of the things that aren't so visible, we don't often talk about them, are our maintenance of the art and artist database, our communications on web, print, and social media, and our management of public art funds, including the developer fees, which are part of this new additions to the public art or cultural arts program, including our public art master plan efforts, and then the new public art requirements. I guess, exciting thing is that now that this art requirement has been in place, it's starting to trigger, what am I trying to say, Erin? The developers, it's now applying to developers. So they're contacting us with questions. And so we're really grateful to be working with ABC, our consultants on the public art master plan, because we really are on the cusp of, what does this look like? What's the responsibility of staff and the commission? I think there's going to be more work coming your way as well, in terms of advising on either public art that's installed on these sites or, in helping us prioritize what we do with the fees. So this, again, is what we consider as a base part of the program. Even with your 0.75 FTE, we do struggle with completing all of these tasks in as timely a manner as even we would like to do. So I just thought it was important as we kind of talk about how to prioritize from a staff perspective. This is what we look at. So our focus really is, with the public art master plan at hand, on planning for the future. So the commission and the public art program in general has the potential to see $15 to $30 million over the next few years. And as much as, sometimes we can't do things now, I really think that all of your efforts will lend themselves to helping us hit the ground running for when we are able to see those opportunities, or if there are grants or the surprise money that falls from the sky, we know exactly where to go. And even as the commission, I think it'll help all of us prioritize what we do next. So that concludes my presentation. I look forward to hearing any comments or feedback you have about how we can better, plan for the future as the agenda items stated.
I'm gonna give it to the rest of the commission, but I just wanted to add from myself that thank you so much, Angela, for the presentation. And we do appreciate, I personally appreciate all the work that you guys are putting in. I know even though we represent the commission, represents the residents, where the citizens, you guys as staff, and you do have your direct responsibilities. And I do thank you for your support of this commission. It's without you guys, it would not be even possible, I think. So we are very grateful for all the time that you're putting in. And we saw that during the fundraising event. It was my first time in the 2 years that I've been here. It was all Zoom, and this was the first time we connected with the community. It was so nice to hear from them. And I could see what the commission used to look like before the pandemic, and I totally understand what you're saying. So we are very grateful for everything that you are doing. So and I'm just gonna let the rest of the commission chime in on this.
So I have a question. So with the consultants and the master plan, are they going to give us hopefully direction on how things will be set up with the city staff in the future? Once we get some money, possibly hiring more people to do things that need to be done? Is that part of the deal?
Yes, that's definitely my hope. And we have told them as much, because there's the program side, but also the fund administration side, like what does that look like? So hopefully they can advise on how we invest that money in both program and staff.
Angela, I had a question regarding that, the master plan. So once it's finalized, and I know we've been handing over the data, the survey is ongoing, obviously. So once that's done, will the commission be able to review the results before the public, they made public, or we're gonna just kind of get the results like everyone else at the same time and have a chance to review them all together?
I'll let Erin speak to that.
Yeah, so we do have the strategic vision subcommittee that is working, and they will kind of advise a little bit before the actual master plan is completed. So they'll kind of have this body's viewpoints kind of steering that a little bit, and then it will be presented to this commission for your comments too. But so that they will come and present at one of these meetings once it's in its final stage.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Erin. And I think I just had one more question. I think just more clarification, not really a question, but Angela, you mentioned that the 15 to 30 million that's going to come from the code, right? The municipal code. So when the projects are being built and the developers are choosing art or piece, is there any way that they want to connect with us or the the residents about what kind of piece we want to see, or how does the process work actually?
Do you want to answer, Erin? Okay.
Sure, I can take a stab at it. So yeah, so again, the 15th to 30 is projected. So they could choose to put art, on their project property. And so that number is just a projection. I just wanted to clarify that. And then we do have intention, of coming to this board if they're looking for advice or like direction, kind of where we've been, meeting with developers, and it's kind of something that we are pushing forward, is that, if they would like to know what the community is looking for, that this is their best avenue to do some outreach, and then approval for review of their proposal.
Thank you. Thanks. I think that answers pretty much all my questions at this point. Thank you.
I want to first echo Millie and say thank you very much, Angela. And very clearly, you guys do an awful lot of work, and it's good to hear it all laid out and like what's coming. And then I had a quick question about maybe this isn't quite the right point in the agenda to ask, but if there, with so much shifting around of the commissioners, we want to talk again sometime soon about which subcommittees could be bulked back up or something like that, or maybe we wait until we have the new commissioners.
Yeah, I think we can do that. If you'd like to add it to a future agenda item, we can do that. That actually is a good point, though. With the new commissioners, it might be good to revisit what each one does. But it's certainly at any time. I mean, that's kind of why we attached the list to the packet. If there was someone who wanted to move from one to the other, or, we could.
Do you happen to know if we have like this legal obligation that when our commission shrinks, then the size of a quorum is also smaller, or is it always 5 people or whatever it was?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So the quorum will still be, it's the number, I believe it's the number of commissioners we have at that time. So for example, our quorum with 8 of you is 5. So that kind of changes. It shifts with the number. Does that answer your question?
Yep, thanks.
But hopefully will be a non-issue if the interviews are happening pretty soon and we can fill those seats.
All right, if anybody else wants to comment, if there are no more comments, we're gonna move on to the next agenda. So I'll just give you a few more seconds.
Well, thank you for your feedback.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Angela, for the presentation. We're gonna move on to our subcommittees, and we're gonna start with strategic vision. I'm gonna give it to Michael.
Hey, so I know we touched a little bit on the public art master plan and the consultants, but the big update right now is that they're in the community engagement process. So as you all know, the survey is out. The city's been communicating that out through various methods, social media, the internet, and newsletters. They're also going to be doing the outreach again at Concert in the Park on the 24th, and then the Dia de Muertos art show on the 14th and 15th of October. In addition, I understand that they're working to form various focus groups right now. So as we continue making contacts, realizing that we have some folks in our at our disposal or in our community, send those onto the consultant still. So definitely, as you get those, send it to them directly as you've all met them. Send it to me as the head of this subcommittee. I can pass that along, or anyone else involved in it. So that's all. That's the strategic vision update right now.
Thank you, Michael. I'm gonna move on to sculpture. I'm gonna give it to Lynn.
Nothing at this time.
All right, thanks, Lynn. And next is urban art. I think that's Risha.
Thank you. So Urban Arts Subcommittee met actually earlier this week, and we went through a whole thing where we kind of realized we had lots and lots of ideas, and this speaks to something that Angela has, just said about brainstorming, and that we recognize that ERC has a limited amount of bandwidth, and that in general, city staff have a limited amount of bandwidth. So we tasked ourselves with prioritizing all the activities that we've been thinking about, and one of the things Angela mentioned was the graffiti abatement, and then there are a couple other areas that involve murals. So we decided to prioritize the production of a sort of a generic request for proposals, request for, why am I blanking on RFQ? I forgot what the Q stands for. But anyway, an RFQ, and then we're targeting another committee meeting in October to discuss the draft RFQ, and also if time is available, to have a database of mural artists. And so this will get us really set up to be able to execute on some of these mural concepts and start prioritizing the next task, rather than just throwing out a whole bunch of ideas and not really saying which ones we want to work on. So thank you very much. And I talked to Ursi earlier today, so thank you, Ursi, for following up on that. And then something actually that Michael said about the community outreach, I hope this is an okay forum to mention this. Raul had a really great idea about, we've been trying to figure out how to get the biotech companies a little bit more involved and to reach out to people on the corporate communications website. However, I was wondering if Aaron, I can put you a little bit on the spot, or Angela, or if Karen, I don't know who the right person would be, Ursi, but that the email that comes to the corporate communications person should come from a city email address. It's going to get ignored if it comes from my Gmail address, right? And so I'd be happy to like draft a letter to start doing outreach and do some research on corporate websites. Maybe Raul wants to help me a little bit. I'm not going to say it's going to get done tomorrow because everybody's really busy, but like, can we start sending over email, like a draft email and contact information that we find on websites for local biotechs, and have someone with a city email address send the actual email so it gets responded to?
I think it's a possibility, but is it just more announcements about our art exhibits, or I'm sorry.
Well, so one of the things that we were asked by the consultants, by ABC, is part of meeting with them in strategic vision subcommittee. Sorry, I kind of forgot the name. Okay, was that they were like, help us reach into community, help us, network with, and it's like, okay, how do we connect with the biotech community here, which is obviously huge and potentially would be great to have connections both to drive traffic to various things that we want to drive traffic to, as well as potentially sponsor something down the road. But just for now, building up a database and a set of connections that that we were asked if we could do. And it seemed like, I mean, Raul, I don't know if you are on audio, if you're able to say anything about this, but Raul.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Do you want to explain
Okay.
how, like, you
can? Yeah. It's something that we discussed, and we're not sure what is permissible, and we were thinking that, when we're doing fundraising for whatever fundraising we're doing, if there's a possibility of approaching any of this biotech. I mean, we have a boatload of biotech companies around us who could provide sponsorship, but we don't know if this is something that we're allowed to do. So
yeah, I think as far as information sharing, we could certainly do that. I know when it comes to fundraising, the city kind of takes a comprehensive approach because there are a lot of asks on that community and sometimes much bigger dollars at stake. And so Aaron even has a hand on fundraising for our new library and park and rec building. Looks like you might have something to add, Aaron.
Yeah, no, Angela, you touched upon it. I think just so that there's not so many departments, so many, different groups asking like the same people or same companies over and over again, that it should be funneled through a hire in the city. So they're not just so many asks coming that the city is not aware of as part of fundraising. But I think this is part of your point, Risha, is just kind of making that connection to begin with in general, just so they know what's happening. I think we can certainly handle outreach for if you have a letter and agencies you want us to reach out to. I think we can work with, there's potential to work with you guys on that to just build that relationship, is kind of what I think I was hearing as well.
Yeah, I think we're kind of like, there are kind of two parts to this, but the first one is just building the connections and helping our consultants get those connections too. Do you already have a database of like the corporate communications at Biotex that you reach out to about sponsorships and stuff like that for other city programs that would be appropriate to have, you know, again, I could draft a letter and then we could say, hey, we would like to make sure you're on the radar for our consultants because they're reaching out to the community, you're part of the community. Eventually, we might want to like let you know about things that are going on, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, we can work with you for that.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, I wonder if planning might have it, but it's not, you know, and then the people that the city manager interact with, I mean, maybe it's good for them to know, but I also don't know if they're necessarily the same folks that we would want to reach out to.
Okay.
So I feel like it might be somewhere, and I'm thinking planning might be a good place for us to start.
Yes.
I think right now, as it relates to that public art master plan, that would be really important, is to get at least just to get that survey out to that community and to that person who can feed it out to all of their employees, because that public art master plan that we're putting together is for all of those, again, who live, work, or play in the city. So a very broad group that we're trying to get feedback from. And it would be great to finally be able to hear the perspective of that community, our own residential community, and be able to do that analysis between the two and just see where interests and priorities lie in each corner.
So would a next step be, I mean, do you guys want me to just draft an email and then see if that is an appropriate thing to send to the contacts that the city already has, or what would be a next step?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
And Aaron, I wonder, I mean, like, the emails that we've been sending, I feel like that's probably a good place to start, the ones that we've been using for the focus group stakeholders. So maybe we could just start with that and at least just see what resources the city has to connect with biotech. Because I feel like we already have a template for it, and
That
maybe
would save me a to-do item.
So I could chime in on this a little. Mauritius, the biotech community has actually a couple of shows coming up there where they kind of gather, and they're trade shows, and it's outside of the Bay Area. But that would probably be the best place to actually, and you can approach them as a private citizen or as part of a nonprofit and just talk to them and hand over the brochures. And that's totally fine. Because you're not doing it as a representative, but you're doing it as a private citizen. And they're more than welcome. They just love this kind of interaction, and you could stop by the booths and just talk to these companies, and then more than happy to exchange ideas. And I can forward that information to you later after the meeting.
I think it is going to be awfully hard for me to attend something like that in person. But, you know, yeah, send it over and maybe we can help the consultants connect to those.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Anything more from the urban art? Not, we're gonna move on to youth
Yeah,
art programs. Oh, sorry.
If I could just add, yes. So Aaron, because one of the things that we talked about during the subcommittee meeting is potentially upscaling our art show, wherein and the reason why we talked about the sponsorship is, let's say, I'm just throwing it out there. Let's say you have a Genentech Award for Creative Excellence. You have a really good size spot money, and the goal is to give some prestige to the art shows that we're having that will garner more attention, and hopefully gain more. The city would gain more prominence by that. We even talked about maybe moving it from Arroyo to the South San Francisco Convention Center, hold it in there. So that's the kind of things we were thinking about down the road. And that's why we came up with this idea that maybe we can get some kind of sponsorship. And so you're saying that if we want to do something like this, we have to put a plan in place and then submit it to your office, and then you can talk to, the different sponsors about this.
You could put a plan in place and send to the office, and we would talk with higher ups in the city before it would go
Okay.
out to other, before we
Okay.
would do the outreach at that level.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you.
But I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely say hang on to that idea. I think that the community partnerships are important. But I'm also thinking like as an idea just for our future funding, like, yeah, absolutely, that's great.
I remember back in the day, they used to have Genetech Day in South City, and they would bring people over from, this is like 20 years ago, when it was just starting out, but they would bring people into the city, on these little cable car buses or whatever, and just kind of hit the vendors on the street and stuff, just kind of bringing economy to Grand Avenue back in the day. So I know that, they'd be interested probably in helping us with our endeavors, or I'm sure many of them would actually, just to become involved in the city to show their good, whatever, if they like being here.
Oh, they love being here.
Well, it's a tax write-off for them, so it's not a big deal
Exactly.
money-wise for them. It's just part of their public relations program. So in that respect, I think it's kind of a win-win, but the logistics of making that happen, that's beyond me, so.
Well, the city heard us. Hopefully this is actually a pretty good plan, Raul and Risha. I'm actually excited to hear this. As a moving from a municipality to one room to a big convention, that would put South San Francisco on the map in terms of art. So we're gonna probably supersede San Francisco if everybody could start coming, south. That would be great. Any more comments on this? All right, moving on to Youth Art Programs Fundraiser.
Okay, I will give this update since Sarah couldn't be with us tonight. So I first want to thank city staff and all of you commissioners for the hard work that went into this event. I want to thank the community members who attended the event, the sponsors who helped produce that event, donors, individual businesses, and the community partners, such as Artists on Wheels, Spark of Creation Studio, and South San Francisco Unified School District's Adult Transition Program. All of that leading up to what we made fundraising, that total is $5,048.25.
Wow.
That is
my
a huge win for all of us, and mostly for the youth art program, the youth artists in our community who will be awarded scholarships in the coming years. So yeah, huge round of applause to everybody.
Bravo.
Amazing, amazing.
I am really bummed Sarah could not be here for this
Oh.
meeting, because
There was.
a lot of this is her work driving this event. She really, as I told her, she was the train that was moving, that I feel like we all hopped on to help. And so, yeah, so good work, everybody. We are shifting focus to define more of a youth arts strategy. So more of timing based on our award, based on our fundraising efforts, and what that program awareness and fundraising cadence could and should be throughout the year to help continue to grow the program, not just sustain it. So more to come, hopefully, in coming months on that. But the work for next year's event and all other youth programs never ends. So we will continue to hit the ground running. And I think that's the update for now.
Thank
First-
you, Michael. Oh my God, I am so happy to hear that we've exceeded our fundraising goal on this. This was truly monumental effort and was put together in such a short period of time. This was a live event and a lot went to it, and I'll speak to it a bit about at my community engagement, but I'm going to move on to the Day of the Dead art show.
Real quick though, sorry,
sorry.
I see Ursi's hand up.
Oh, all right.
Thank you. Michael, I don't know if you wanted to speak to next year's dates.
That's right. Next year's dates. Thank you, Ursi. We are proposing the date of August 27th of next year. We need to select that date due to the calendar and the aggressiveness of that filling up with just limited spaces here in the city. I know we are looking to potentially evolve or continue to evolve. But in the meantime, if we can put a hold on the Fernikes building for August 27th, at least we'll have a pin in the program for next year. Anyone have thoughts on that date or objections to that date?
That is Saturday or Sunday?
It's a Sunday again, Sunday. Correct, Ursi? Sunday, August 27th. Thank you. Yeah, so it is a Sunday again. It is the Sunday before Labor Day again. That's how it fell this year as well.
Well, the turnout was pretty good. And the weather was perfect. I mean, if that holds for next year, I mean, we need a bigger building.
Well, the fact that it was indoor, outdoor availability was great. That really added a lot, I think, to people who were kind of hesitant at first to come in and go out and then sit outside and come back in again. That did help a lot.
And I think we have more time now to do logistics in terms of preparation and just traffic control, and hopefully no more medical surprises next year. So this will be a little bit more streamlined, and more people will show up.
And we're welcoming subcommittee members as well.
Yes.
Well, I don't hear any opposition to the date, but I also just wanted to throw in my kudos to the commission for and Aaron and Ursi and Sarah for all your hard work. And then in addition to the funds raised, I think you get I was going to say popularity points. That's not what I mean. Goodwill, arts points. The outreach at this event was so positive and so fun and so great. I mean, I was like, it was so busy at the cashier table. I didn't have a chance to get around as I wanted to, but even just that for me, and seeing people and how happy people were to engage was like really good bonus points for the program.
Yeah, and then before we move on to the next section, wanted to give a shout out to our elected officials who made time to come in and mingle among us, spend a great deal of time with the public, and it was so good to see them in person because it was my first time meeting all of them in person. So I want to give a shout out to the mayor and the vice mayor and the council members who were there. thank you for your time. And thank you for showing your support. All right. Should we move on to the next item on the agenda? A Day of the Dead art show, October 14th, 15th. That's our next art show.
That is coming up all too soon. Everything seems to be going along fairly well. We do have a confirmation from Angelina Portillo that she will come and do the Sugar Skull hands-on artwork on Saturday, which is a plus. And the children's or the daycare program through Park and Rec is going to provide extra artwork that will add to whatever we receive for the Day of the Dead art exhibit. I have no idea what to tell you, how many pieces or what it's going to be, because we don't know until practically the day before. We have Angelina, we have proposed a face painter and parents, and all of this has gone out already and it's on the internet. So hopefully everything is going along well. We will not have another meeting before this event. So I would like to ask any of you that have not already committed yourself to, that's an odd way to put it, but any of you that are available on Saturday to, by all means, offer your services. I would appreciate it very much. We will need people to help with the crafts, and we will need docents on Friday night. We have only one person that has, or two that have offered to take in the artwork, and we still need more people to put the artwork in to install it. So if you have time, be sure to look up that thing on the internet and accept if you can. Other than that, if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Where's it going to be? At the
Arroyo Center.
okay.
Yeah, so if it's at Arroyo Center, then I can come in on Friday night. I can help you, Lynn, with the logistics, because then it's I'll be available all after work to do that for you.
Well, don't let the fact that there's going to be a lot of children scare you off. They're not really that bad.
I love it. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
Through the chair, Millie, if I can add to, the last time we did this in person live, and the very first time it was offered through the commission, this particular theme, we were blown away by the participation. I can't even begin to describe how many people of all ages so enthusiastically came to participate. We have our child care division entering our artwork pieces as well. And so I don't know how big this will be in comparison to that particular event. We're still a little pared down due to the pandemic from what we used to do. But I tell you, I put little flyers out there and they disappear out in our MSB and our atrium, and they disappear like that. So I think that there's a lot of interest in this particular kind of program, and it's a lot of fun. That's the other thing. This whole thing, that it's just to see the enthusiasm of the age ranges from babies, yeah, from little ones all the way through adult, all generational. It's pretty exciting. So I really recommend if you can to participate in any aspect of the program. And as Lynn indicated, the Saturday event has 3 different 3 different CAFT activities to date, possibly one more. And our consultants will be there on Saturday as well with an activity also related to gleaning information in a fun way related to the Day of the Dead. So yeah, that's come. It's going to be great. Help. And the link is in the chat. The link
I
is
am
in the
gonna sign.
chat.
I already got it. I'm gonna sign up for everything. You got me. Yeah, I can't wait. I actually am looking forward to this.
The link
So
is in the chat, and I'll follow up with another link via email as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Darcy, and thank you, Lynn. Anything else do you want to add, Lynn, to this show?
No, not right now. Thank you.
Okay. Any comments before we're moving on to performing arts? Okay, performing arts.
No updates at this time.
All right. Thank you so much.
Before we move on, I do want to recognize this was the subcommittee that Paula Claudine was chairing, and the members were Paula Claudine and Zubin. And so this is one of those subcommittees also that could probably use additional folks.
Absolutely. And Zubin, if you want to chair or recruit, once we have more members, that's what I'm actually going to speak to at my community engagement. I'll actually just jump into it. So with the community engagement, and I want to thank everyone, the last art show, we didn't really have a formal meeting because we were so busy with everything, but I am waiting until we have more members. With the vacancies after September 20th, and that's going to be after the Day of the Dead art show. So before I would do another meeting, and then we're actually going to sit down and talk about all the things that we wanted to do. So hopefully we'll recruit new members. So right now I don't really have any updates. The community engagement part is, we've already been seeing people kind of reaching out and kind of asking to help them with certain things. So we weren't really sure when Ryan started this committee what it was going to be about, but I think I'm getting a better idea how to help the residents and the citizens and people and other subcommittees. So I think it's shaping up. So we'll do our official meeting after the next art show. So that's it for me.
Millie, if I could just bring up, I probably should have done this when Aaron was mentioning commission recruitment, but still somewhat relevant to this conversation. With that need for more support of performing arts and youth art and those aspects on this commission, is there something coming from city staff or this commission, or is there an avenue that we can share with council and the city manager, those who are doing the interviews, to express those needs? Are they aware of those needs? Do they have visibility or insight into this commission and the areas of focus that we have, and maybe where we aren't resourced as well?
So Angela, maybe you want to tag team this with me, but typically the commission selection process is purposely, staff is not involved in that process. It really is at the council level.
So
Angela, yeah.
I think we can bring it up as a point of, I guess, better is for city council's consideration, like a way for them to vet potential candidates and what we see as the priorities. So we can definitely probably work with the city clerk's office to see what's the best way, at least just to acknowledge that.
Okay.
And, they will do what they will with the selection process. But
and I think that answers my question satisfactorily enough, because I think in that instance, it is, I think it is appropriate for myself or others, if we have those relationships with council, to reach out and express our feelings of what we would like to see here as well, even though it's not our decision either. It would be good.
I'm just putting this idea out there. Would it make sense to temporarily, even though they definitely cover different different aspects, or were intended to cover different aspects, to temporarily merge certain subcommittees so that they have enough people on them? I mean, even with 3 more commissioners, could it be helpful to do that for at least a little while? So, you know, if community engagement is a subcommittee of 1, and performing arts is a subcommittee of 1, and there might be some overlap, although obviously some different functions as well. Does it make sense to merge those temporarily, for instance?
Yeah, so I don't know if you're asking staff or the commission, but I think on the staff side, it is certainly appropriate that we could have this commission can have a discussion about merging or revamping, however you want to say it, your subcommittees. And I think like even just how you guys have spoken on different items within your subcommittee report out lends itself that there are some overlaps that definitely can probably be combined in some areas.
I would, even though Risha, I see what you're saying. I think before there were only 4, or before this came out, there was only like 4 or 5 subcommittees, and I think they were split because there was an interest in sort of doing more focused groups. I think I would give it a little more time, because if we are getting people, there might be more interest, and like I said, we are coming out of this sort of hybrid mode into what it was supposed to be. I would just give it a little more time. I would like to see
Yeah.
if there would be more interest from the public before we merge, because we can always, the subcommittee work, and that's what I think Angela was saying before, was always kind of like in the background, and it's just we're so active, as Angela was saying. We want to do things, we want to be participants, we just want to do so much. And it does take away from the staff. It takes excuse me, it takes their resources. Excuse me, that I would just wait. I that's just my personal opinion. I just want to see who's going to join the commission. There's definitely a potential for more. Absolutely.
Millie, to Risha's point though, so with community engagement, I do feel that much of what all of us do is community engagement. Right? But then as we are working on that strategic vision often, and that public art master plan, community engagement really holds a strong role in that, as well as in the youth art programs, or so it did. So if we were able to take community engagement and absorb that into strategic vision, for example, once we do have more commissioners, it will kind of help feed them into the areas where greater support is needed.
Or Michael, maybe, sorry to interrupt, but can we informally have the 2 subcommittees work together as long as we're not a quorum?
Right.
And then we'll come back to, to Millie's point, then, once they get big enough again, then we'll have a quorum, then they can't work together quite so closely, but maybe for the time being, informally inviting community engagement to strategic vision.
Yeah. Like if there is a need for any subcommittee to work with another subcommittee, we can always do that off-site, right? And if we are collaborating on the project.
I don't think we can.
No.
I think that's what violates the Brown Act.
Depending on the number of people who are in each.
Yeah, so I think, what I would be asking is, Millie, as chair of the commission, you would still hold a role in community engagement in general, but maybe stepping down from community engagement. And then Peter and I are already on the strategic vision subcommittee.
Mhm.
So we don't have a community engagement subcommittee.
That works for me.
then it's
Yeah.
one less thing that we're doing because we're all doing it anyway.
Right.
Just it looks differently in these different areas that we're doing it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing
So-
formalized for that right now. But
Right. I exactly. So I think last year when the subcommittee was created, we weren't really sure exactly what we really wanted to do with it. We kind of wanted to see if we definitely knew there was a need for some sort of, but like you said, we're all doing it anyway. So once we are kind of shaping it up, and if you want to absorb it into strategic vision, that's fine by me. So yeah, I don't really have any special hold on the subcommittee.
And there's nothing that has to be decided right now. I think, I guess Commissioner Bond brought up at the beginning of the meeting that maybe it would be good to hold on to these ideas, think about them. So when we dive into maybe at the next meeting, we could review just the current makeup. And if anyone's was interested in the interim, we could move names on lists. And then just take a look at that at the next meeting, if that's what the commission would like to do and talk about it. And even at that point, we don't have to make any decisions. It can be an iterative thing that we explore. I mean, at one point, fundraising was separate from the youth art show, and those combined with the thought that when needed, it would kind of segment off, as I think I'm hearing Commissioner Dinatale say about community engagement, right? Like there were co-leads for those.
well, I think we had the opposite problem with that though. We
Was-
we didn't have enough people on
Mm.
either of those. So
Mm.
we needed to combine them, and we still only have 2 people on that one subcommittee that is youth art programs and fundraising.
Mm.
Whereas community engagement, we have duplication and we have 3 people on that, where if we didn't have that entire subcommittee,
Mhm.
that leaves the spaces on other subcommittees where we do need people available for people to express interest. I would hate to bring on more people, and no one expresses interest on those where we need them, except on ones that are redundant or not necessarily active. So that's my, just strategically, again, kind of looking to what makes the most sense. And I'm happy to not change anything now, but just let us think about that for the future. Ursi had her hand up.
Yeah, just as a point of historical reference to, for the commission, for many, many years, when we came near year end, calendar year end, we would put out a survey that allowed the commission to make their thoughts known as to what committees they want to see occur in the upcoming year. If they want to transition in or out of any particular subcommittee, that would be a moment. Not that they couldn't do it at any other time of year, but that was kind of a central moment as a year closed, for all the commission to kind of reconsider, their position and the commission's at large goals for the upcoming year. So although I think all this conversation is good, I just want you to keep that in mind, that might be an approach you would want to perhaps undertake in some fashion, especially as new people come on board, ideally as in the latter part of the year. Again, as Angela said, nothing to be decided now, but it was something that used to be done in the before times.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm going to resign myself from the community engagement subcommittee.
Okay. Thank you, Michael, but you are always part of that community.
It's okay. Room for others.
Yeah, but we'll definitely revisit that next. If we probably should put that on the agenda for our next meeting, because we will know who is joining us. We'll have new members for our joining us for our next meeting. So it's probably a good opportunity to revisit this topic next month. Any more comments on this before we move on? All right.
I have a question about performing arts. I think in the past year, we were talking about performing arts in a virtual setting. Do we have a venue that we use for actual performing arts? And where is it?
So the city of South San Francisco does not have a venue for performing arts.
Okay.
We do have, for our productions that we do have, it is through the school district that we
Okay. Okay.
use their facilities, depending on what the needs are, and that's part of our joint power agreement with the school district.
No. Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank
But
you.
The other thing, if I want to add is when, and this is again pre-COVID, Raul, where we have had performing arts, we've had it in conjunction with some of our art shows, and we had it here at the Municipal Services Building. Our youth art show in particular used to have performing art representation as part of their program. Right now, we're still kind of in a transitional mode where we're a little leery about doing anything of that nature in the
Yes.
building. But hopefully we'll be able to get back to that. So,
No.
And-
Okay. Okay.
And kind of to go a little bit deeper, the performances Ursi references typically would take place in our council chambers. And with the new library, park and recreation facility, the council chambers there will also have capability with like theater lighting. It's still relatively same size seating, so not in the upper hundreds, but there's about 100 seating, a little bit more, but with the stage, it could alter that. So we'll say about 100 seated. So that is slated for the new library and parks and recreation building when we open.
Oh,
Aaron,
okay.
from what I understood though, it's not like professional trusses for lighting to come in and out. It's just standard lighting that will be there, and you can't really change it for true theatrical performances. Is that-
So we've met with lighting consultants, and so they understand our desire to use it as a theater. So there will be a little bit more professional lighting based off of that. There won't be bringing things in and out, but there's curtain, and then there will be a little bit more high-end theater lighting on that aspect there.
Is there a reason the Finec, is that, how do you say it, Finecke? The
Fernicke's?
building in the park, Frenecke?
Furnickies, yes.
That building can't be used for an event?
So, okay, sorry. So let me preface it. So any of our facilities can be used for events. There might be a little bit more, if you think of the Furnickies building, it's just an empty room with tables and chairs. So with some, planning, yes, we can make any of our facilities. That's one. We have the Bulio Center, we have Terra Bay Gym. So we have facilities within the city, just like we use the MSD here, that we could use for some kind of venue. I will say in the larger scale with the larger amount, that's why I went with the school district's option with the built-in theater seating. That's where we hold our larger performing arts events.
Yeah, because we had those, we actually had performances at the barbecue, and I thought there was a good venue for them. Everybody seemed to enjoy it.
I think Raul's question kind of brings up the fact that this city doesn't have a professional performing arts center.
A dedicated art center. Yeah.
Exactly. And there is the need and the desire for that among the community. And that is where the $15 to $30 million in public art funds someday can be really well spent in procurement of land and development and getting something like that. So I think the more voices that we can have, again, I'm just going to go back to that survey and this community engagement piece for the public art master plan. Tell everybody to submit their voice in that survey and echo things like that, because the bigger we could dream, this place could be amazing. It
Oh, yeah.
already
Yeah.
is, but it could be more amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely a need for that.
I highly recommend, if anyone has not seen our Nutcracker, it is pretty impressive for being in a temporarily used theater. Aaron used to plan that event. It is nuts what goes into it, and the lead time, and then we have to get right out of there because, you know, the school is just kicking us out because it's a shared space. It's not our space. But it's pretty impressive, I think, what we have been able to accomplish with that. But, you know, even more so, we definitely feel the growth and the pressure on our civic ballet program to be able to do more, and others as well.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good idea if we had that facility in order to support, you know, any groups who are interested in going to performing arts. I think one of the goals that we have as a commission is you know, to raise artists from the city, keep you know, building artists from here, whether they be, you know, in traditional art or performing arts. That should be one of our goals in you know, just to encourage them, and we need to have the infrastructure and support to be able to support them to accomplish this if they're dreaming that dream.
Yeah, that's definitely strategic vision item for
Yeah.
you right there. That's awesome. Thank you, Michael, for bringing that up. Thank you, Raul, and definitely something for the city and for the commission itself to think about, right? All right. Should we move on?
Oh, one last thing.
Sure, go ahead.
And this is you know, for Erin or Angela, we were talking about the possibility of partnering with the South San Francisco Convention Center for future events. Is there any possibility in that? Because the reason why I ask is I have been involved in events, and I know that events are planned almost 1 year in advance. So if you have an event center, you know 1 year in advance whether it will be packed or it will be, you know, there will be no one using the event center. So we can plan around those dates. And so is it a possibility that, you know, maybe the Cultural Arts Commission would meet with people from South San Francisco Convention Center to talk about these things?
So if it's this commission's desire to explore an event of some sort at the commission center, staff can certainly have a conversation.
Yes.
I don't know if there would be fees attached to that. And I guess it would also depend on like the duration of how much time you're looking. Is it just a day? And then the
Sure.
setup or what have you. So if it's the commission's desire to further explore it, we're happy to have those conversations.
May I
Yeah,
suggest that that
maybe.
might- Oh, sorry, Roll.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, well, you know, I brought up the topic to talk about at the next general meeting about potentially dropping one of the art shows and instead doing a fundraising event, so that to be determined may or may not want to do a second fundraising event, but that could be something that could be the target event for a conversation with the convention center. And because that's not some event, you know, that fundraising event hasn't even been decided whether or not we're going to do it, it doesn't have a date attached to it. So it's something that could be flexible within, you know, what Raul's saying about how the convention center will have potentially some downtimes. And then maybe we're flexible within that downtime.
So this whole conversation just like highlights to me the transformative time that we're in. We have a lot of opportunities at hand. I think, Risha, that does make sense. We could, maybe the agenda topic for the next meeting would be a review of the art show approach or schedule or something along those lines. So we are talking about just the general timeline as well as potential alternatives for what those events look like.
Who owns the convention center? Is it privately owned or is it part of the city? Municipality?
The city does not own the convention center.
So it's privately owned. Huh?
But it is there is some sort of partnership that I don't have enough information to articulate to all of you. So
Oh, okay. The reason why I asked that is because I thought it was part of this city, because when I was applying for this commissioner position, there was also openings for the convention center through the city.
Right.
So that's why I asked.
Right. I don't know that it's a facility for our use at no cost, but again, I'll just have to look into how all of that works.
Okay. What are friends for?
Yes.
All right. Any items from the commission? Items from staff?
Sorry, I was on mute.
Oh,
I
sorry.
just wanted to see if anyone in the city knows if anything ever came of the city's efforts to help SF Taiko Dojo stay in our community after
Oh, thank you, Michael.
after what happened last month. Yeah.
Angela, I'm not privy to what the latest is, but I do know that there's ongoing communications with that group and the city. So that's all I know of. I don't know if there's any other information, but they're still in communication with the last I had heard.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they were discussing potential uses of buildings at the city's disposal, but I haven't heard if.
And I will add that their lease was extended through September, but the city is still continuing those conversations. Like, that was separate. That had nothing to do with the city, but they have a home for this month and the city's continuing conversations with them.
Awesome. Thank you for that update.
Yeah, but thanks for bringing that up, Michael. Thank you. Items from staff?
Yes, so a few quick announcements about upcoming events for you all. This Saturday, September 17th is the annual coastal cleanup. So Park and Recreation will be holding a coastal cleanup beginning at 9 a.m. over at the Bay Trail off of Haskins Way and the Bay Trail parking lot there. So there is a registration if you want to register ahead of time, but we're always happy to have you come and help out. So if you're interested in that. And then our big concert in the park, Culture and Community Festival, is on Saturday, September 24th at Orange Memorial Park. The event's 11:30 to 5 p.m. There's lots going on that day. So there is a main stage where the performers are Pacific Mambo Orchestra. And then they're at 1 o'clock. At 3:30, the headliners, which is Stone City Band, Rick James's original band.
Yeah.
And then there is a community stage where there'll be different performances. We have Hawaiian hula dancers, actually the recreation classes, belly dancing, Mexican folklorico dance, a Basque folk dance, and Irish dance throughout the day are scheduled in. We also have the addition of vendor booths this year. So there's going to be over 40 vendor booths. And as we all know, our consultants with Art Builds Community will have a presence there with outreach for our public art master plan and a fun little interactive art project to go around with collecting the information from the community, as well as surveys and all of that. So fun day. There'll be some food trucks there. So if you guys don't have it on your calendar, we sure hope you can join us for that day. And then of course, we have our Day of the Dead coming up as well, which you all know about, we've discussed. And then the end of October is a Halloween extravaganza that will take place at Orange Park on October 22nd. And all that information can be found on our website as well. So that's it for events. I do have,
Can I
Yes.
add just for the, at Concert in the Park, the consultants who are working on the Lindenville specific plan, which
Oh,
is
yes.
a potential site for an arts district, they're also going to be there seeking feedback from the community. And I think we're going to be placed next to them.
Yeah, we've worked
Public
it
art
so that
master plan, like just in case there's some
synergy there.
commonalities, yeah. And I think also just a good opportunity for commissioners to kind of understand what that project is about.
Oh, that was actually my question, Angela. So I think, so the commission chair for the Parks and Rec actually invited us, our commission, to come over and kind of hang out with them. But my understanding is we have our own table, right, Ursi? For the cultural arts?
So the Parks and Recreation and the Art Builds community has one area. So that's the area for where our outreach is going to go for our public art master plan.
Okay.
And there is a table for the Parks and Recreation in that area too. But
Okay.
not the commission.
Not separate,
Yeah,
not
it's
like a
not like a
separate, just,
commission
we're
table.
under you guys, under the Parks and Rec, so I
Correct.
wanted to clarify that invitation was just to kind of hang out with them, not to bring our own table for our own commission separately. Okay. Thanks.
And then I do have one other item for this commission. It's just to inform you guys, update you guys that the city has been informed that in Ursi, I believe this is called the Wild Poppies is it the Twilight Rain, which you guys might just know as the Blue Heart sculpture at the conference center. That has actually been moved to the front of the conference center, so it is very visible when you're driving by or what have you. Yeah, that's just the update I have at this time, is that it used to be closer to the door itself, like the entryway, but now it's been moved out towards, I guess, closer to the street, I guess is what I would say.
Okay. Correspondence from Ursi?
Well, actually, there was one item in the correspondence that kind of caught my eye that I might let you know about. The Peninsula, I don't have it in front of me, but the Peninsula, there is a performance on September 25th, combining Ragazzi Boys Choir and two other of our Peninsula arts groups. Of I think the dance group, the ballet, the Peninsula Ballet, and one other group that I might be very interesting to go to if you have an interest. It is within your packet. I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me. So just keep an eye out for that. If you have an interest in seeing those three performing groups combined in a performance of Carmen Burana, I think is what it is.
Carmina Burana.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw that in the packet. Yeah, actually, I think I might attend one of those finally. All right, thank you, Ursi. Before we adjourn, any other comments? Questions? I think we had a great discussion today. We have quite an agenda for next month. So no more comments today, I think. And thank you everyone for participating in today's meeting. As usual, it's always a pleasure. You guys are awesome. And I will see you hopefully at the concert. And if not, then I'll see you at the next meeting. All right.
So we have official
everyone.
adjournment.
Official adjournment.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.